Welcome to the JP Podcast. I'm your host, John.
And I'm your co-host, Tom.
And today's show is on prepping. I invited Steve. I actually work with Steve. And, when he first was talking about prepping, I really didn't pay him no mind or anything like that. But then I started watching Naked and Afraid, started watching...
They all think I'm crazy. Naked and Afraid.
The Walking Dead and everything like that. So, and then I started getting into it.
Yeah.
So then I started asking questions. The guy's pretty knowledgeable in it, So hopefully, he can tell us some things or not. But what I did for today is I was watching some prepping podcasts.
Yeah.
There's all different kinds of scenarios that you can prep for. So
Absolutely.
Maybe Steve, you can help us out here. What are the different kinds?
By the way, this is our guest, Steve McDonald.
I'm sorry.
No,
I don't prep for any one scenario, but there's all different stuff that people. I don't know if you watched that show, Doomsday Preppers.
Mm-hmm.
They're all a little out there, then they take it to the extreme. But it could be anything from you lost your job,
Okay.
having just a little bit of extra food to hold you over, all the way up into like civil unrest or economic collapse or hurricane.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff I got to look into and research as well was the different, like you were saying, the different type of preppers, and watching like the National Geographic Doomsday Preppers and all that. You see like the rolling blackouts, or are they prepping for a zombie apocalypse, or is it there's a different, like you said, different levels to this prepping game. Where would you classify yourself?
I'm somewhere in the middle. I wouldn't go as I'm as extreme as some of the people on the show, but I'm always watching like YouTube videos, trying to learn new things. I do have some food storage. I'm in the process right now of trying to purchase like a bug out location somewhere. Like if you want to evacuate the city or highly populated areas, I have a second place to go. And I do have some gear, like a bug out bag and stuff like that. In my car, I also have a get home bag. So if I'm out somewhere or I'm at work, I'm able to get home to get my kids and head on to the next place if I have to.
Yeah, I never even thought about that. What is in your get home kit?
In my get home bag?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you've seen a lot of like bushcraft stuff when you look up like survival stuff. Realistically, I'm not going to be in the woods when I'm trying to get home.
Right.
So in my get home bag, it's more like I got a pair of shoes, like comfortable shoes to walk home in, a jacket in case it's cold outside, maybe like some extra food, or in case I got to walk for a day to get home.
Yeah.
A bottle, put some water in.
Yeah, that's actually pretty smart. In the winter, I put in my cold weather gear actually from work. I stick it in my trunk, and just in case, but I didn't think about boots. So I got to think about that because, what if it's in the middle of winter and you have to get home? That's the one thing is getting home, So I like this area. So if something were to happen, I'm pretty happy with this area. Not so much maybe in the city part, but we have a lot of resources right here. We got the lake. I got deer, left and right. I mean, I just have to walk out my door, and there's some deer there. I see them every morning.
Yeah, but how many of your neighbors are going to be shooting at the same deer?
But it depends on the scenario. Yeah, I was watching shows on preppers that, they're going out camping, and, I'm like, there's going to be houses.
Yeah,
there'll
still be shelter. You can walk into a house.
I mean, it's nice if you have to get away and get out into the woods, but you know what I mean? There's going to be houses, unless everything burns up. But then the woods are burnt up, So.
Some people they kind of fantasize or romanticize, I'm going to go live in the woods. It's going to be horrible.
Yeah, it would be.
What happens when it snows and rains? And if you've ever done any type of bushcraft, unless you practice that kind of stuff, it's hard.
Yeah, I don't. It's like we watch Naked and Afraid, and I'm like, I can't do that. I really can't. In a controlled environment, pop up a tent or something like that.
But that's the time you should be practicing in a controlled environment. You don't want to wait till you get in the middle of the situation and rubbing sticks together and
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
start a fire.
You know, so I have my kit with the thought of, okay, my kit is if I have to leave, okay, and that's why it's such small stuff that I'm going to put into my car. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at my kit is for, you know, we lose power. Of course, we lose power here. I'm going to have to leave because this place is all electric. You know, I definitely want something with a wood burning stove or a fireplace or something like that because there's enough trees around. So, you know what I mean? I'm leaving. I'm getting in my car and I'm going if I can. You know what I mean?
And there's a couple of trains of thought with that. Like I said, I got the get home bag in my car, and there's a bug out bag. Like
Okay.
and most of that stuff's just supposed to get you from point A to point B. Like I have a secondary location I'm going to.
Uh-huh.
And then there's people who have, they're called an inch bag. It's I'm never coming home. Like I'm going to live out of what I have in this bag,
Uh-huh.
you know, and maybe find stuff along the way. But
Yeah, I think what I'm looking for if I have to leave is just a place with a wood burning stove, a lot of woods, and I want to stay around the deer, if not fresh water, and you know the lake. You know,
And what under what this is under what type of scenario are we talking about in this?
my scenario, I'm just thinking,
zombies.
you know, besides zombies, you know, 90% of the world disappears, you know, or gets sick. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? So all utilities shut down, and everything like that. So how are you going to live like that? To me, I mean,
So not necessarily there's a threat. So in your scenario, there isn't a threat coming at you, but sustaining life is the
yeah,
only thing you're worried
I'm
about.
not going to worry about like, you know, a foreign invasion. You know, how do you prepare for that? You know, either you live or you die.
Shoot them or they shoot you. Which one?
No,
That's the only way.
There are some trains of thought with the foreign invasion or like terrorist attacks and stuff like that too. If we were to get, say, nuked or something, and it wouldn't even necessarily have to land anywhere. A nuclear bomb going off in the atmosphere would cause an electromagnetic pulse, an EMP.
Uh-huh.
It would pretty much fry everything electronic.
Yeah.
Same thing with like a big enough solar flare. We have solar. The sun has solar flares like every couple years that we don't even really know about. But a big enough one could actually knock out all electronics. And the last time we had one that big, all we had around at the time was like telegraphs,
Right.
and it knocked all of that out.
Really. Yeah, I didn't.
So what got you into this? How did you get into this whole prepping world?
It was kind of a slow progression at first, and I didn't even know what prepping was until I seen the show. Like, oh, that's what it's called. I was just looking at a lot of current events. You know, in 2001 we had 9/11, then 2005 Hurricane Katrina, and like you see, those people, if they stayed in their houses, they were getting robbed, or you know, seeing bodies float by and didn't have food, or they went to the stadium where FEMA was, and that was horrible living conditions too.
That was
Peop-
some of the worst violence.
Yeah,
happened
people
inside
were
that
getting
stadium.
like beat up and killed. You know, like I don't want to have to rely on anybody. Part of the prepping too is just learning how to be self-sufficient, having your own supplies, so you don't have to rely on anybody.
Right. You know, I do want to learn. I do want to go hunting one time. You know what I mean? And
Completely agree. I was
just to learn it. You know,
just
it's
to
not
do
that
it.
I want to go hunting because we don't have to.
But I don't want to be stuck there having to make that shot.
Yeah,
Not able to.
and then you're like,
I
okay,
just-
what do I do now?
I just started getting into hunting over the last few years.
Uh-huh.
My father-in-law, he's a big avid hunter, and I wanted for one, like, show me how to gut it, and then
Yeah.
and then like I wanted to skin it and everything.
Oh,
Just,
wow.
Just to go through the whole process.
Yeah, that's what I want to do because
Being on the cooking end, prior to all this, I've been able to do that. I've been able to gut, butcher, break down a whole animal from front to back, all that.
Yep.
But I've never put that animal down and then done it, which is a totally different experience and something you need to be able to do at that moment in
Or
time.
like you don't want to find out that like what squirrel and snake tastes like. You're like in the middle of it. So like me and my son, we keep talking like we want to go eat a squirrel.
Yeah.
Like let's go eat a snake. Like just to
See it.
yeah.
that's good stuff. You know, it's like I had a cousin. He was telling me one time they were going through a broke spell, and he said they got their food from the lake. He said his dad went fishing. I thought that was pretty cool. You know, I didn't even think about that. You know what I mean? The dad would just go to the lake, grab some fish, and That
Dinner.
They would have dinner with it. You know what I mean? That's surviving there.
I've heard similar stories, like people make fun of the preppers with the food storage and the buckets and all that.
Yeah.
For one reason or another, one of the parents was unable to work for a few months, and they were actually living off their food storage. Well, that they were prepping.
Uh-huh.
They were supplementing, what they could buy with groceries with what they were storing, and it actually helped them get through a tough time.
Wow.
And that's what prepping is, really. It's just preparing for bad stuff to happen. It doesn't have to be like the end of the world as we know it. Or,
Right.
complete shit hit the fan. It could be like little stuff too.
I didn't even think about that. I was like, so I'm not gonna, I'm not prepping for.
That's the one thing I do appreciate is, there are extremists in everything you do in every aspect of life, but seeing the fact that some people almost guarantee this is going to happen, you have to have a play this, and then there's the other side, they're like, no, I'm not guaranteeing. I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, I want to be ready.
Do you have a fire extinguisher or smoke alarms in your house?
Yeah.
I'm not saying your house is ever going to catch on fire, but
Great
you're ready if it is. You got a plan with your kids, like go meet at the neighbor. That's a form of prepping at some level.
Yeah, but you gotta eat these foods after a while. You gotta make sure you're rotating them, right?
Yeah. Like if you're storing cans and stuff like that, buy what you're gonna eat. Don't store a bunch of green beans and you hate green beans.
Right.
But store the stuff that you eat and rotate it. Whenever you go buy a couple new cans, put those in the back. And
Yeah,
when
that's
you
true.
know what I mean?
Yeah. I was wondering about that. I was watching a video and the guy had 55-gallon drum of rice. You know what I mean? I'm like,
If you do
Gotta
it,
go bad.
no, actually, if you do it right, there's way to store stuff like that for up to like 20, 25 years.
yeah, I can see that.
I do have some food buckets. If you put them in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and make sure they're in a somewhat climate controlled, they'll stay good for 20 to 25 years.
Yeah, because I always thought to myself, if something goes bad, I'm just gonna go. I'm breaking into Giant Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna go get all the canned goods.
You
or-
and 10,000 other people.
Yeah, but no, they're all gone. You know what I mean? It's just me and Giant Eagle.
Just like COVID hit, everyone rushed to the store to get food and toilet paper, and like I'm sitting at home like, you guys are.
I know.
I was ready for this.
That's good preparing. Good preparing.
So have you tried one of the MREs or one of your food? Have you eaten a...
I have. One day, my wife was at work, and it was just me and the kids. And we're like, what do we have for lunch? I'm like, let's eat MREs and some of the like Mountain House dehydrated food. So we just made a mixture of them just to try them out. Just like, again, you don't want to get in the woods. Like, I hate MREs. Like, well, that's all we got to eat. My son liked them. He keeps asking me, like, yeah, can we eat another MRE? Yeah.
But they're expensive. You go to the stores, those are rather expensive, to be honest with you.
They are. I don't have too many MREs. I actually just made some trades for other stuff. Once you get into like the community, like on social media and stuff like that, and find other like-minded people, they got an abundance of stuff you're willing to trade. I mean, this doesn't have
Yeah.
to break the bank to just be prepared.
I saw that on one of the videos. The guy was saying to grab these certain type of batteries, the cheaper batteries, and use them for bartering. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of stuff. You could store up on alcohol,
Yeah.
like liquor.
Yeah.
Like you could barter with that, barter with sugar. Honey doesn't go bad.
Yeah. I wonder how long gas lasts. You know what I mean? If we were to lose everything, and how long is a car gonna last?
They
out
say
there?
a few months and fuel starts to, I don't know if it hydrates or something.
It starts to go bad though.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't carry. I have a piece of tubing. You know what I mean? So if I have to get inside of a gas tank,
In my get home bag, I do have a siphon.
do you?
I do. Like I said, like my get home bag is I'm getting home.
Yeah.
Like I have a pair of gloves, I have a pair of sunglasses, pair of safety glasses. I've got pry bars. I've got a lock picking kit. Like
Oh wow.
I'm gonna get home no matter what.
Yeah, that's true. When my kids were younger, that was my plan. Whenever anything, I'm getting home.
Like I got a pair of 8-inch bolt cutters.
Wow.
Like if I'm going through fences, I'm going through locks. Like I'm gonna make it home.
Where are you getting this stuff at?
Online stores everywhere. Like I do a lot of research on before I buy things.
Yeah.
Like I see a lot of comparison videos. YouTube's a wealth of information for when you're looking for stuff to buy.
I saw
Reviews.
top 10 things to get from Dollar Tree or Dollar General.
There's a lot of good videos where people do like the survival challenges.
Uh-huh.
They only get a certain amount of money, and you got to go into like Dollar General or Walmart and make like a bug out bag and go live in the woods for a couple days.
Yeah, you get to see some pretty interesting guys there, huh?
They're out there trying to cut stuff with little cheap kitchen knives and stuff they found at Dollar General. But that goes to show you that it doesn't take a lot of money, like, to get into it.
Yeah, I have most of the stuff here. I mean, I would grab what I have here and get in the car and I'm going. You know, that's if I'm leaving. I'm gonna go look for a house with a fireplace.
So one thing I always said is everybody's scenario is different in their head. It seems like everybody. So like you were saying, you're by yourself. You're running Giant Eagle, and in your mind, no one else is there. You're grabbing all the cans.
Yeah.
That's.
By the time he gets there, that store's empty.
I said I'd get an RV, grab a trailer, fill it up with gas, and just take off. Well, the second one person shoots that trailer, I'm done. That's a 28-foot cargo trailer full of gasoline. You know?
I don't remember the name of the book. I think it's like 1 second after or 1 minute after or something. And it actually goes through the progression of a big event and how people react. So after 3 days, like the grocery stores are empty. People will panic immediately. Like, and then after, this is how people are going to act after a week. And you got people going out killing people for food. After a month, you got people like joining like gangs and robbing other people. Like, it shows the psychology of people in an event and tells how they're going to act. But,
but the thing I like is when I was starting to get into it and you were talking to me, I don't know if you remember, I was looking into car camping, and that's where I started. So I was watching a lot of videos and reading things, and these people, they go camping, but it all has to fit into their car. They're not getting vans or trucks. They're just cars. So your tent, your food, your shower, your toilet, and everything else has to fit in that car. And they're going and they're having a great time. I actually have a book
you
somewhere.
got a Ford Escort.
Yeah, they had little cars. And
Geo Metro.
I had a book somewhere of all the best campsites in Ohio to go do that. And then it progressed to I'm gonna just get a fifth wheel or something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I'm gonna have a couch and somewhere to sit down. Yeah.
I need air conditioning, because then I started looking at like how am I gonna wire this thing up for lighting? You know what I mean? Air conditioning if it's hot in the summer. You know what I mean? If it's cold in the winter, I need a heater. So I was like, I'm just gonna do a camper trailer. But I felt the point is I felt that those people were the best prepared, because they can get up and go at any time and then move on to the next one, as long as they have their vehicle. You know what I mean?
Then what if the highway's packed? What if everyone's got the same? Like I said, people are going to panic. Everyone's going to hit the highway.
In my mind, like I said, everybody's gone and the roads are clear and Giant Eagle's fully stocked. You know what I mean?
And I'm on my way to Florida, hanging out on the beach by myself.
That's how I kind of stage my preps. I got like a little tiered system. So I have my get home bag, and then I have my bug out bag, and then I've got a bunch of totes filled with stuff that I'm going to just throw in my truck in case we got to leave.
Right.
And I'm going to drive to my second location. But if for any reason, if the highways are packed or if it's an EMP, because most cars aren't going to work after that,
Right.
And I have to walk there,
Okay.
I'll just, so I kind of got a tier. Like, I'm going to take as much as I can in my truck, but if for some reason I got to ditch my truck, I'll put whatever I can in my backpack, and then I'm hiking the rest of the way.
Uh-huh.
And I got the material, the gear in my bag to make that hike. Like, I know it's going to take a couple hours to get on a car going
Yeah.
to my secondary location, but if I'm walking with my kids,
Yeah.
it's going to take me a few days. So I got a little bit of camping gear in my bag too.
Right.
I'm planning for those kind of things. Like I said, and it's tiered, and I'm working on getting some property right now for my bug out location, and I'm going to store a lot of my stuff there.
Uh-huh.
So, and I have stuff in my home. So, yeah, if you can bug in, that's great. But what happens when you can't do that anymore?
Now, when you say bug in, that means stay in. That means
Bug in, yeah. Bug in is, they like all their acronyms and words. So, yeah, bug in is you're going to stay in place. Bug out means you're
Obviously,
leaving, and then bug out bag, you'll see like Bob, B-O-B, bug out bag,
And-
inch bag.
And for preppers, that all depends on the scenario. So you don't know if you're heading north, south, west, east. You don't know where you're heading in this scenario, you just know you're going to be moving at that point.
Yeah, ideally, you want a second, you know, you want to plan ahead to have that other location, whether it's a family's property that's in a little more rural area, so you can get out of the cities. But if you don't have any other option, you just got to go. Like, in the highly populated areas is not where you want to be. Once people start panicking and taking what they can to survive, like, if you have children, you're not going to I don't care if you're the nicest guy in the world, you're going to take somebody else's food to feed your kid.
Right.
So I just want to get out.
Yeah. Now, what about water?
I don't have any water in, like, my get home bag. I have water bottles, or I have water filters.
Okay.
In my get home bag, I actually have the water bottle that has the filter in the bottle,
Okay.
just in case, you know, I got to stop real quick and I'm able to drink. I've got multiple water filters in my bag. And there's a few natural ways, like you'll see if you start doing some research, you could probably filter water if you find a bottle laying on the ground.
Okay.
You know,
Now, my son, he asked me, you know, we were talking about it, you know, a couple of days ago. I was telling him, you know, this is a show we got coming up. And I said, well, you got the lake right there, you know, you got all the water. He was like, you can't do anything with Lake Erie. I'm like, yeah, you can. You got to boil it. You know what I mean? You got to boil it for what?
filter and boil it. But when it comes to things like urban prepping, just think of, what do you have in your house right now? You got a hot water heater. You got the back of your toilet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, if you're scavenging, like, there's places to find water. Like,
Yeah.
Even if you're in the inner city and in a big urban area, I don't know if you're aware, all big buildings, all commercial buildings have, like, you have a water faucet, like a garden hose on the side of your house. All commercial buildings have that also, with reservoirs of fresh water in them.
Okay.
I have this thing called a Silcock key, and because all these buildings, they're locked, so nobody can just walk up and turn them on.
Uh-huh.
Well, this Silcock key will open those.
Oh, wow.
They look like little four-ways,
Okay.
and that's in my get home bag too. So
Oh, I
I'm
gotta
able
check
to
that
I'm
out.
able to get water even if I'm walking through downtown Cleveland. I can walk up to any building and open their little reservoir
Wow.
and fill up my water bottle.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, like a lot of people, you start looking up like prepping or survival, it's all bushcraft stuff. I don't live in the woods. So I have a lot
Yeah.
of prepping for urban,
Yeah.
but the wood stuff's good to know. Like the
It is
bushcraft.
good to know because I see a lot of guys. One guy was going hunting, and he was like, I'm kind of nervous. I hope my phone works. And I was like, don't you have a compass? You know, don't you know how to use a compass? You just get a map of the area, use the compass. He was like, no, I got one on my phone. I'm like, how are you going to rely on that? You know what I mean? That was one of the first things I bought for my kit was the Army style, because that's how I learned it, you know, a military style compass, you know what I mean? So it was like, come on. And you can't rely on technology or all that's going to be gone, you know? Like I saw in one of the videos, they were saying stock up on candles, those dollar Jesus candles, you know what I mean? Put Jesus all over the place. But you know what? It's right, you know? So,
Or even go buy a little bag of tea lights that cost you $1.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we used to have the tents in the Army and little sterno can. You open it up and light it on fire to heat that whole thing up, you know what I mean?
See, I've always had that passion for that, for the survival part of it. Like you're saying, going in the bush and learning how to survive for a week or whatever without anything. That's, to me, that's exciting and fun. But I've never considered it prepping. Although, even though you're sitting here talking about it,
But-
I've thought about my car. I have water in there. I have a bag of clothes, which is, underwear, socks, 2 pairs of socks, whether they're low cut or thick socks, sweatpants, jackets, all that I have in my car right now. Blankets, the whole nine. But I've only had that so in case anything happens, I could survive in my car with water and a cup of noodles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's a form of prepping.
Yeah,
I never considered that a prepping.
Learning stuff, and I was going to probably get into that. Learning stuff and prepping yourself is part of that too. You know, knowledge is free. With the internet these days, I can learn. There's a million people that are willing to teach me whatever I want to on the internet right now for free.
You know, but what do you recommend for once that's gone? I mean, we had talked about once the technology's gone and everything, I came to you and asked you about books.
Yeah.
You know, and you started mentioning, I do have a couple Sorry if I'm not talking on here, but
Yeah, there's a bunch of Boy Scout books. Like,
these are the three that I got. You know what I mean? I was handing it to you, and he just ignored me. But
oh, I was looking. I was totally looking.
Prepper's Long-Term Survival Guide. I mean, I got this Bushcraft 101, and this one's actually on building. This one's from the early 1900s. This book has been out that long, and it's good. This guy will teach you how to build shelters in the wood out of nothing. You know what I mean? Using the stuff.
Settlers, like, there's so much stuff that we used to do and know about that we've already forgot about.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Just like our great grandparents that lived during the Depression, like, they knew how to grow their own food, can their own food. They ran their cars off gasifier engines.
You know, and it's like, I think the Amish should be okay, you know what I mean? Because they're not using anything, you know what I mean? So it's like, if they can do it, we can do it, you know what I mean? So if this place had water, a well, and a wood-burning stove, I think I could do it, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to do it.
So is there an ending point? Is there I'm satisfied with what I have?
If you talk to any prepper, they'll tell you
They'll
no.
tell you no. So every
No.
prepper is continually prepping for
Yep, they're
every
like-
scenario.
They're not like every scenario. Like, I got a little bit of everything. But if you talk to any of them, like, I've met guys that have been doing this for 20 years and they've got this all decked out, and you ask them to rate themselves from like 1 to 10. They're like, oh, I'm like a 4 or 5. Like, they're nowhere where they want to be.
And you're sitting there going, this is almost
Like,
everything
I'm like a 2, 2.5.
Yeah, I think we were talking about one of the dishes I got there. He said you can't put it on a fire. I was like, well, I'm not putting that on a fire. I'm just gonna take whatever's on the fire and put it on that dish.
That's gonna be serving my hotel room food that I got because I broke into that place and
Right.
slept on that bed because it was cold outside.
But when you're carrying all that stuff, like say you're planning to bug in, but if you do have to bug out, and you have an 80-pound, you were in the military, like the rucksacks. You ever have to just like walk for miles with like 100 pounds on your back?
I get it, and I would break it all down. You know what I mean?
If you
But
could get some stuff that serves more than one purpose, like a metal pot, you can drink water out of it, you can boil water out of it, you can make your
Yeah.
food in it. You know what I
That's
mean?
true.
That one pot will do 3 different things instead of carrying like a big bag of dishes and a mess kit and all this other stuff. In my one kit, I have a metal bottle. I can boil water in it, and the nesting cup it just sits right into it. And then I have like a titanium spork.
nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't want to carry a bunch of stuff.
yeah.
All the stuff that I try to carry, if it has multiple uses, sweet. Like, that's
Yeah.
just less gear that you have to carry. And the more you know, the less gear you have to carry. Because when I first got into it, like, I went out and bought everything, bought all the gadgets, all the gear, all the stuff. And I did have that 80-pound bag, and I'm like, this is going to suck.
Yeah,
But the more that I learned, the more I realized, like, I don't need half this stuff.
Yeah.
I could either make it, find it, or I can find an item that has multiple purposes, so I don't have to carry 10 things. I got one thing that does 10 different things.
yep.
And then have you had a chance to actually practice yours? Have you guys you said you've met other preppers, and have you guys done like a run through or?
Yeah, I've been on, like, camping trips where all we brought was our bug out bag, and, like, it sucks.
It's,
That's what I'm saying. All these people romanticize about going to live in the woods. Like, it's going to suck. Like, I'm not going to if I don't have to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, like, make a shelter and, like, sleep on leaves. Like,
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if I'm bugging out, I'm getting in my car and I'm bugging out to a house.
I've practiced stuff. Like, you ever try to start a fire with a bow drill?
not a bow drill, but other routes of it. That's why I say I've done prepping things without knowing that's what I'm doing. So I thought it would be fun to start a fire, the old way,
Rubbing sticks, yeah.
sticks together and breaking it all
It's
down
tough.
with a magnesium stick and all that, which is fun. But I was doing it for the fun of it. I wasn't even preparing that to be a what if something happens? I was just like, I wonder if I can do this.
But now something happens, you're like, I got
Yeah.
this.
Oh, yeah. Everybody around me is like, you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, I don't.
But I said, you don't want to wait until you're in the middle of the shit to like, all right, we're cold, we're wet. I had a lighter, but I lost it or it got wet. Like, I'm going to rub sticks together. Like, that's not the time to learn that skill. Like, go learn it, practice it a couple times. And the guys on the internet make it look easy. I even know the whole concept and just the whole nuance and technique of doing it. It's tough. You got to get get used to it.
I'm gonna carry me a little fire starter. And
I have
every
a
chance
kit.
I come across one, I pick it up. So I want 5 or 6 of them. You know what I mean?
But you know what? Carry a fucking lighter.
So that's
That's true. They did say the lighters. You know
No,
what I mean?
you can have some redundancies too, like
Yeah.
carry a lighter. You can carry waterproof matches. But those kind of stuff run out. So you got to resort to your striker and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And there's probably a million different ways to start a fire without a lighter or matches.
We talked one time about knives. You know, I don't want to go over guns. You know what I mean? Because everybody's got their own idea. But knives, finding a good knife. You know what I mean? As far as what were you saying? As far as what you thought, which is the one knife to have on you all the time.
I don't have the one knife. I know you want a nice fixed blade knife, something sturdy. When you get into the bushcraft type of stuff, you're going to be baton and wood. You're chopping wood with a knife.
Yeah.
And you're doing little stuff. You're chopping down trees, so I would do some research. And knives can get expensive too, but I've found a couple good budget knives that are fixed blade. Gerber makes a couple that are like $50-$60,
Yeah.
and I beat the hell out of them. And like I've chopped wood with these things, like split logs.
Yeah.
And, I haven't been able to break one yet.
You know, but I go through Amazon. I'm looking at the knives. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh. And when I think I found the one, then I find another one, then I can't make up my mind. You know what I mean? But I do have to get one. I bought a machete.
Look up
you
some
know what I mean?
gear.
I got a machete, I got the axe, I got the hatchet, I got the knives.
Yeah.
I have all of that as well. And then also the next biggest thing, not only having the knife, learning how to sharpen it. Because if it's dull within a month, that knife, that $300 knife does you. You're gonna end up cutting your thumbs
Over heavy
off.
use, it's
Right.
dull after a couple days. Unless you get a really expensive knife that holds a little edge a little better. I do find that with the cheaper knives, you do have to sharpen them a little more.
Yeah.
But learning how to sharpen out in the like you said, out in the scenario, not at home in your garage while having a beer.
When you're in the shit.
Yeah, so it's a big deal. But knives are, any chef will tell you a good knife will do all the work for you. That'll save you from so much damage.
Any bushcrafter you see on the internet, if you could ask them, any one of them, what's one thing you need to, and they're going to say a knife, because that's the one thing that you can't recreate out in, when you're out there, unless you know how to get some
Flint knack.
flint. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff you want to carry in your bag, is the stuff that you can't recreate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's some stuff that if you have to whittle a spoon, you can whittle.
Right.
Yeah.
Good spoon.
Make chopsticks out of some sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I wanted to go back on the water thing. You said you have a container that has a filter in it. Originally, you were talking about the straws. So you like the container over the straw?
No, I actually have all.
Yeah, okay.
If you're going to go with something like the Life Straw, there's actually another option to that. It's called a Sawyer Mini. They're
Okay.
the same price. They're like $20.
Alright.
The Life Straw, I think, only filters like 100 gallons.
All right.
And the Sawyer Mini will filter, I think, up to like 100,000 gallons.
Wow.
And they're the same price.
See, I haven't bought it yet, and I'm glad I didn't, because you had told me to get the other one, and now you found a better one. You
Yeah,
know?
I've always stuck with those Sawyer Minis, like I said, and I do watch reviews on everything. And
What about the tablets?
I had some tablets. I still have them. I think they expire though.
That's what my
But
next question was going to
That
be.
and what happens when you run out of those?
Yeah.
So having the filters, but also learning how to filter your own water.
Is that part of your prepping? You learned all that?
I've learned quite a few ways, like I said, to filter water, to start fires from nothing,
Yeah.
to building those primitive shelters. Like, I don't want to have to do any of that,
Right.
but I want to be ready just in case. Like, I'm not gonna go out there and just automatically start using my fire striker. I'm gonna use my lighter.
Right.
Use the easy stuff first.
No,
Just-
I get it.
Those are just good backups,
But my wife, one time, from Naked and Afraid, you got the body of water, and they'll come in a couple feet, and they'll dig this hole. I forgot what it's called.
A well, and dig the well to let the sand and everything.
Yeah, and it
filter.
filters into it. And she said she tried it, and it worked,
Yeah.
and I was like, I would have never thought
Yeah.
about doing something like that.
I've
you
never
know?
done that, but I've seen it. And have you ever went out to Hawking Hills?
Yes.
That one cave where people look like somebody was living there like 200 years ago?
Yeah.
they had actually, there was a trickle of water down the wall, and they chiseled out like a bowl to catch the water. And
Oh, wow.
so the water coming out of there was clean. It was being filtered by the dirt and the rocks.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
But,
same with when you can do, like you said, you can take that, you just have that bottle. You can take, if you're close, sand, rocks, charcoal, fill it all up, and then strain that through like a sock or something.
yeah,
I mean, obviously you're not going to
it's
taste like the
it's
best, but
crude,
it's
but
clean.
it will work.
It'll hydrate you,
You still want to try to boil it if you can.
obviously. Yeah.
But if you don't treat the water, boil it somehow, you're gonna end up with like some kind of dysentery,
Yeah.
vomiting, and diarrhea, and that's not gonna help you when you're trying to hydrate.
Yeah.
So
Now you talk about this second location. Is that going to be like like you said, you're on your way to your second location? Is that going to be more like your hideout? So it's going to be like an underground, but not that you need to get into that type of depth. But what interests you?
currently, I'm actually getting the property. I want something. My family's gonna use it for camping.
Oh, okay.
So I plan on building a cabin and all that stuff. So it's going to be something that we use. There's four-wheeler tracks and try to set up like a little gun range or something for practicing. But yeah, if I have to leave the city or leave those highly populated areas, I have a place to go. Maybe one day I'll have a bunker or something on the property. I've looked into that quite a bit too. They get kind of pricey. But there's some cheaper options, but I don't know how reliable they would be. So
And in your opinion, what would you see as the next scenario that you would need to be prepped for? So we just went through the pandemic, like you said, you had some prepping that assisted some people through that pandemic. What, in your mind, what's your next prepping?
I don't know what I foresee. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Like I said, for the past 20 years, if you follow current events between the housing market crash, 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, we just got hit with another hurricane down south. The rioting, stock market's tanking right now. If the dollar were to collapse right now, what would you use to buy things? The only thing that's going to be worth anything is tradable items, stuff you can barter for.
Yeah.
But and it's everything all the way up to, those talking about like solar flares or Yellowstone's like overdue like 100,000 years from blowing
I just
up.
watched that today.
When
Yeah.
like Earth goes through the asteroid belt like 2 times a year, and I'm looking up these videos. They have proof of actually Earth being hit multiple times by asteroids.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
just the one that took out the dinosaurs, but there's been multiple
Numerous,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So you want to show any of the go through some of the stuff that we brought? Just see what he says.
I just have the basics. I have your magnesium bar strikers. Once again, I tried handing it to him, and he just looked at it.
Well, I was just going to comment on all your stuff still in the package.
I know.
So, like I said, part of the knowledge is free, but you still got to practice.
I'm still not done buying. This is actually one of my favorites. Is this wind
Solar.
up? It's solar, and it's a wind up
flashlight,
and it has a cord, so I can charge a phone. You know what I mean? And
little radio.
it's got a radio, and it does the weather band also. I have a weather band, AM and FM, because I'm sure they would announce some stuff over the radios.
And too, with like stuff like this, like you said, why you rely on your phone. There's, I don't have any on my new phone. I had those SAS and survival books downloaded on my phone.
Uh-huh.
And I have like the backup batteries, and it has a solar panel on the backup batteries.
Yeah.
So even if I can't use my phone to call people, I still can, look up those resources that are on my phone.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Just your typical stuff like magnifying glass. I saw that you can start fires with it too. That's a good thing. I mean, it's got to be daytime and the sun's got to be out. I got a poncho in a bag. You know what I mean? I got like 3 of these.
Don't want to get
Don't
wet.
go cheap on the ponchos, man. I've bought those
Oh.
emergency dollar ponchos. You ever try to open something with saran wrap on it?
Yeah.
And don't sleep on the Disney World ponchos. Phenomenal. Let me tell you, those are really good.
This is actually, I'm going to give this a try. So this is a real small fishing rod and reel and everything. It comes with the whole kit in it. And I don't know how well it's going to work. You know what I mean? So I'm going to give it a try first. If it doesn't work, then it was a waste of money, but I'll just get a regular fishing pole that collapses. But I wanted to give this a try because it was light and everything. I figured this will go in my bug out bag. You know what I mean? So
I just got some hooks and some, I'm going to use a stick.
yeah.
Wrap it around.
And then the one thing I spent a little money on is a slingshot.
Yeah.
So I got a professional slingshot. I got to put it together.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You know, and it comes. You can put a flashlight on it and everything. It's
And
got-
if you run out of the ammo, you just use rocks.
you can use rocks. It comes with these pellets and everything like that. But it's a slingshot. You know what I mean? I was
That's
like,
perfect for rabbits, squirrels. All
yeah. If I got to hit something small, you know what I mean? Why
What?
waste a bullet
You
on it?
should be, you ever shot a sling? You should be practicing with that now.
I'm going to practice with it too. You know, I am.
Let me get this property. I'm going to have them out there like every.
Actually, we were talking about this. I think in a couple weeks, maybe do it in a couple months, but we're going to do a challenge here.
Once the winter comes out, maybe coming into next spring or something, we go out there and just a night. We start off with a single night, and we do some reviews on some of these tools that we bring. You bring yours. I'll have
I'm
some by
not-
then. We'll, you know.
I'm still bringing a pack of hot dogs.
Yeah,
I'm
just
not
in
going
case.
hungry. Like, what if
But
I don't get a squirrel? Like, I'm going to be hungry.
I want to try the fishing rod. You know,
Yeah,
I
we'll
wanna see-
try, but then if we don't, we'll have some steak.
Yeah, like,
I'm
just
gonna
go,
have an air mattress too, just so
go back to talking about, like, you don't want that big bag. I mean, yeah, that fishing pole's awesome, but if you could do it with, a little fishing kit with just some hooks.
I looked at
stuff
those
with-
too,
you
yeah. I know
And
exactly
improvise
which
some
one, yeah.
stuff out in the
Yeah.
field. Like I said, the more you know, the more less gear you need. Same thing with that, the big magnifying glass. They actually have, I have one, not in my
Credit
wa-
card one.
It's the size of a credit card. It's
Yeah.
a Fresno lens. I don't remember how to pronounce it. It's pretty much just like a credit card that's a magnifying glass.
See, I only have you, so I rarely see you. You know, when we do run into each other, we talk about it. So I saw that. You know what I mean? I was like, nah, I'm going to get this one. You know.
I actually have a couple. Maybe I'll give you. I'll see if I
You know why? Because I also, in my wallet, I carry the credit card knife. You know what I mean? And you just got to remember, like,
Don't get on an airplane.
I went to the airport with it and totally forgot it was in my wallet because I like it in there because it actually keeps my wallet from bending my credit cards. But it's a knife in my wallet. You know what I mean?
Did they say anything to you at the airport?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
they were like,
What the fuck?
Yeah, I was nervous because I was like, I actually forgot that was in there. You know what I mean? And he said, well, you got two choices. You could
Throw it
either
away.
throw it away or take it to your car. And I was like, oh, throw it away. You know.
Yeah.
But now I'm on the list. You know what I mean?
You were
So
on the list before.
Yeah, look at you.
Sometimes if you make it past security, they'll
Grow a beard
be
out
like,
of you,
yeah, throw it
honestly.
away, or you could pay $50 to mail it back to
there
yourself.
you go. There you go. But yeah, let's set up for something in the future. Let's do this challenge. Let's get all this stuff, and
Start practicing.
I'm gonna bring all my stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'm pointing at my toe. Yeah,
Oh, I was looking at this
You know
light.
what? The light I found. It's kind of funny. We found that at my son's house. The people that actually moved out left that there, and it's got batteries. I like it, but it's batteries. So I don't want to be dependent on batteries. You know what I mean? Because how long are you going to have those? You know, then you got to recharge them. You got to get that solar thing out. This one here is a solar one. You know, so I think it'll be a lot better. I'm trying to hold it up so people can see. So I'm going to actually stick this out during the day. You know what I mean? I got
Charge it up, see how it.
charge them up. I got two of them, and you could do a lot of things. It's got a light under it. So I think that's for me to see what I got is junk or not, is to give it a try. You know what I mean?
If you know you're going to be walking like to a secondary location or something, they have like little fold-out solar panels. Like
Yeah.
I'm saying, my backup battery, and it has a lanyard on it where I can clip it onto the back of my backpack and it'll charge while I'm walking.
Wow. You know, it's just so much we can cover here. Just so
There
much.
is.
And we can keep going. We can keep going. But instead of, making it a 10-hour show, I want to bring him back. You know what I mean?
'Cause I'm
Because
awesome.
you are awesome, and I just, I want to go out and do that challenge with us. You know what I mean? Like we were talking, like we got to come up with certain rules and let's do it. We'll film it and we'll put it right back on here. You know what I mean? So people can see what
Do
it
the Walmart
I'm
challenge.
game. No, and like we said, worst case scenario, we get a campsite and we try these out in the woods. No, we have everything for us right here, ready to go. But let's try first. Let's try to do it this way
So
first.
what are the rules? Like, are you,
Once that the first mosquito bite, I'm out.
I mean, like, we can only take what we can fit in our backpack,
Yeah,
and that's including like sleeping, eating, all that.
No,
No.
I'm getting a tent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying,
I'm getting
like-
a tent. I'm bringing my LL Bean sleeping bag that I bought for $5 off of
So
Marketplace. You know what I mean?
Because like I got a hammock that fits in my backpack. Oh,
You can bring anything. It's not going to be that, but we are going to have separate tents.
But-
I'm just saying, I want to
Come
try the
on.
stuff I just bought. I want to use my fire
Yeah,
starter.
so we'll do a fire starter with that. Then instead of that, do your bow drill. So we're not just starting one fire. We're starting in multiple different ways. It's more of a testing the equipment than it is testing us as
I gotcha.
survival. As survival goes.
maybe we'll pick a couple items to test.
Part 3, test us. You know what I mean?
Like I think you should like you're only allowed to take what you can keep in your bag. Like that counts for like in a realistic situation. You're not going to have a tote full of sleep. You know.
I agree.
So if the sleeping
part
bag
3, we do
fit
that.
or the tent fits in your bag, because they have tents and sleeping bags and all,
I know.
that do fit in bags.
Yeah,
But I want to get
I do know that.
that group of things that we want together. So that's what this next one will be, is getting that together to say, hey, this is what we're going to take then. So if that doesn't work, we just take the other fire starter that worked really well,
Yeah.
for example. And then we go do it like you're saying, like you only have what you have. Nothing
Those,
else.
those kind of trips are tough. I've been on a couple. Like they're horrible.
Hey,
And we're going
um,
to film it. So it has,
Like
it has to
I
be
haven't had any
entertaining,
like catastrophes during them, but I got buddies that do it too, and they're like, it rained the whole time. We couldn't start a fire, and these guys are professionals. That's why I'm saying like practice in once you practice in the controlled environments, then like go out there in the wintertime and try to do it. Like you ever try to light a lighter in the wintertime? Like it doesn't want to light. Your fingers are frozen. Like
Yeah, that's what I was going to. As far as the groups, like, are you on a Facebook group? You're on a.
when I first started getting into this, I actually, because I said I didn't know it was called prepping or anything like that. I'm like, I just started developing this mindset all on my own, and I'm like, I wonder if there's other people out there like me. And I found out there's a whole community
Uh-huh.
of people like, and that's when I started actually like, I didn't get on the internet too much, and I got into YouTube, started falling down rabbit holes.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I started my own Facebook group a while back, and I got like 300-400 people of just people in like Northeast.
I didn't know
Ohio.
you started one.
I did. I don't admin it anymore because I kind of lost interest and people were just posting stupid stuff. But I got a part of some other groups where we actually met once a month
Wow.
and practice stuff and learn topics, and a few times a year we take camping trips, and a couple times we'll take those camping trips like with what you can fit on your back. And that's a big part. The knowledge is free, but you do got to get out there and practice it.
Yeah, and that's why I said, let's do this challenge. Let's check it out. I want to see if the stuff I'm buying is actually worth it. And I'll bring a Jesus candle. You know what I mean?
And
from Dollar Tree.
when you got all your fancy gear too, there's ways to do this. For the people just starting out, you could start small, start cheap. Like I said, learn stuff. Like even if you want to get into like the food storage, you don't have to go out there and buy those 5-gallon buckets that are like $70 a piece.
Yeah.
You could do it yourself, or start small. Every time you go to the grocery store, just buy a couple extra cans or something.
yeah.
So what would you say the foundation is? Just the knife? It sounds like a knife, and or what are some basics for starting off?
As far as tools, I'd say get like one good knife, or you have
a
multiple.
good fire starter. I'm saying just like your first purchase should be like nice fire starter, water cleaning, water purifier somehow.
Man, there's so many.
Different things, huh?
Yeah, there's actually somebody you could follow, Dave Canterbury. I don't know if you ever seen the show Dual Survivor.
He's from Ohio.
He's
too,
from
so-
Ohio. He has a
Yeah.
survival school. He's got lists of like the 10 C's and stuff like that. So you need like a cutting tool, a combustion device, a container, cordage.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely look up him, and he kind of gives you the list. And each one of the things on the list have multiple purposes, and you can get by with just those bare essentials. You could survive.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
That sounds good. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up here, but I appreciate it, Steve. You
Thanks
coming
for having
on.
me.
Yeah, and I want to do this again. Definitely, we're going to try and do it at least once a month.
You're gonna have to take some vacation. John and I work together. We're on opposite shifts.
Yeah, so we don't see each other unless we're covering for somebody else, and we happen to work on each other's shift. It's just crazy, but I appreciate it. I know, you know, you got to work tomorrow, but I definitely want to have them back. I definitely want to do this challenge, and I know you're going to think about some more stuff, and I know once we get the show out there, and you know, and I watch it and everything, I'm going to be like, oh, I should have asked them this, I should have asked them that.
I
So-
still have a million questions. I know that.
yeah, and it's like if you have any questions for Steve, you can comment down there, or you know, just give me an email or send me a text. You know, but I told him in the beginning that I definitely plan on having him on again, and like I said, we're going to do something fun. We're going to do a little challenge with it and see how it is. You know, so I
John
appreciate
Perilla
it.
in the Woods will be a whole series.
Well, thank you very much, Steve, and you know, I appreciate it. You coming on the show.
Make sure you're not naked.
I'm not going to do the naked and afraid. That's not me. But thank you, and I hope
for
you
having
enjoy the show. And we'll see you guys later. Thank you.